Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am T Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we're discussing a model that was launched in 2017 and discontinued for 2019, the peak of 5170 development. This is the Patek Philippe 5170P-001, the Platinum model. Now the original watch came out in yellow gold with a silver dial and a combination of stick and Roman numerals back in 2010. Some felt that was a little bit of a antiquated or even frumpy look, and the watch's aesthetic transformed dramatically through the years of its production run, culminating in this model with its gradient blue dial, baguette diamond hour indices, and platinum case. It was the only platinum 5170 variant. It is 39.4 millimeters in diameter, 11.1 millimeters thick, from lug tip to lug tip, 47 millimeters on the nose, and it has a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it wears comfortably. It's not too broad across the wrist, though the strap is not broken in, so I have to pull it fairly tight, exaggerating the width of the watch. I actually have no trouble wearing this, and I could recommend this watch, especially once the strap is broken in, for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Again, mine is 16. The cuff here is particularly tight, mostly because the sleeve is short and being pulled up my arm. This watch has absolutely no trouble clearing a conventional dress cuff. The strap is high grade, exceptionally high grade as a matter of fact. Large, rectangular, symmetrical scale alligator leather, one of the most expensive and finest cuts of the hide. And then you can see it's gloss with a monotone stitch and a folded edge calfskin on the bottom. No crimping, no gouging, a brand new Patek Philippe factory strap. It uses Patek's latest pull tab spring bars, so you can pop the strap right off the case just by withdrawing the tab. And then we have a buckle that is a folding clasp with the Calatrava cross. This is the logo of the manufacturer. You could see it on the buckle as well as on the crown. Now the folding clasp uses a internal radial spring. Here's the radial spring, and here is the aperture, and then this snaps shut to remain secure. So the idea behind a folding clasp always is to avoid accidentally dropping your watch. It forms a loop that makes it harder to drop the watch. The case is simple and strong, all of high polish. You could see a sheer side, a bezel slightly inset from the case band, tapered lugs. This is a modern era platinum Patek Philippe, so you get the top Vesselton diamond between the lugs at 6 o'clock to remind you of that. You can see the chronograph pushers are alternately satinated and polished, and the watch is 30 meters water resistant. The crown, featuring the Calatrava cross, and the sapphire, featuring a slightly boxed and cambered profile. The dial, gradient, which is to say smoked or fumé, so lighter at the center, darker at the edge, goes from a sort of metallic ultramarine blue to navy, almost black at the edge. Tachymeter on the dial, base 1000. This is a vintage look, as typically pre-1960s chronographs that had a tachymeter would have had it on the dial. And so that's what we have right here. So if you want to reset the chrono and gauge the speed of a race car over a kilometer, the classical example, start the chrono when the race car passes the starting mark, and then when it reaches the kilometer mark, you can stop the chronograph. And so if you stopped it right there, as the race car crosses the end of the kilometer, it would be going 350 kilometers per hour. Now the dial also features white on blue print, which is gorgeous and high contrast. We have two sunken sub-registers for running seconds and chronograph minutes, including instantaneous jumping minutes. Now take a note, the chronograph seconds display and chronograph minutes hands, they're both frosted matte silver, whereas the other hands for running seconds, minutes, and hours, those are all polished white gold. Taking a look at the registers themselves, you can see that they are sunken, and they also include concentric patterns internally. And then we have a little bit of luminescence here. Not every 5170 is luminescent. This one, however, is. We also have the highlight of the dial, baguette diamonds on white gold settings. Absolutely gorgeous. One of the finest and most discreet uses of gems on a man's watch. On the reverse side, we have the caliber 29 535 PS for Petit Second. Now, it is quite a bit larger than the previous Lemania CH2770. This right here is 29.6 millimeters in diameter, so it better fills the case back. You can see it has a combination of a black polished and capped column wheel, Geneva style, with a lateral clutch that includes golden chaton for the pivot jewels, a little nod to watchmaking antiquity. We have a pawl and a jumper for the instantaneous jumping minutes display. We have a 6-position adjusted, free-sprung gyromax style balance for precision of adjustment, accuracy, and shock resistance. And then we have an overcoil hairspring shaped by hand, which has a very centered mass, so whatever position you hold the watch, the overcoil will keep consistent time. It's not as susceptible to positional time deviations as a flat hairspring. This 33 jewel movement also includes a manual wind 65-hour power reserve, and something that's gradually finding its way to all new Patek movements, hacking seconds. A lot of people ask, and this delivers. Again, 30 meters water resistant with a screwed in case back. You can see Patek Philippe makes its own cases these days. It's been taking steps toward making all of its cases since 1975 when it bought Atelier Réuni in Geneva, and now it is a full manufacturer making the case and the movement as well. Taking a quick look, you can see all of the parts of the chronograph, the column wheel, the levers, the horns, the recentering hammers, the clutch, they're all steel, and so they're brushed satin across the tops. You can also see that although they are a harder material than brass, they've been mirror beveled on their sides, which is really dramatically done and handsome. And then you can see that the brass bridges feature stripes or Geneva waves across their top. They too are nicely beveled, including beveled sinks for jewels and screws. We have satination on the wheels, including some internal beveling, and engine turning on the base plate, with all screw heads black polished and chamfered in their slots and around their circumference. It will force you to rethink the commonplace in the watch industry that for some reason Lange leads in chronograph finish and architecture. This will go head-to-head with any dotograph with good odds. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.